Well, Bogner, last time we met, you did manage to impress me. Shocking. Well, this time I have a new challenge for you. Yes, you shall be facing one of my henchmen. Today, you shall face the mighty, the brutal EVH Stealth. Oh yes, the legendary reputation of the EVH Stealth's brutality spans the globe. Feared by many, loved by more. In fact, this amplifier is so brutal, in some countries, it can be used as a home defense mechanism. If a burglar has the audacity to enter your domicile, a mere chug from the EVH Stealth will make him shit himself and run away as fast and as far as his little burglar legs will carry him, only to be forever haunted by the madness that this amplifier exudes. So I have one question for you, Bogner. Do you have what it takes to stand toe-to-toe with such a menacing amplifier? We'll see.
All right, guys, thanks for joining me for another episode. This one's going to be a little more edited than usual because I have to do all these edits to clip the, comparisons close together and stuff. So when you see this picture right here on the screen, I'm playing the Stealth. When you don't, I'm playing the Bogner Uber Ultra. Let's just keep it simple, all right? So what I'm going to do is shoot these out. I'm going to shoot out the blue channel on the Stealth against channel 1 of the Bogner in Uber mode. And then I'm going to shoot out channel 2 on the Bogner in Ultra mode against the EVH Stealth red channel. So I will shoot the amps out raw and with a boost, whether it's the internal boost on the Bogner or an external boost. I'll be using an external boost on both amps from time to time, and I'll also be using an internal boost on the Bogner, and I'll be using the Easter egg that I'll explain in a minute on the EVH Stealth red channel. So I have these dialed in a certain way, I think the best that I can get them to sound for my taste anyways. Here are the settings on the Bogner, and in a minute I'll post a picture of the settings on the Stealth. So I have the mids just slightly down, treble slightly up, bass slightly up, gain cranked on this channel because in my opinion that's where it's the best setting. I have the bright switch on, which is very subtle. I have the Hair Plus switch engaged. Some people say, it sounds better without the Hair Plus. I don't know. We all like different stuff, so respect to everyone who disagrees with me, but that's the way I like it anyways. Now, I'll go over the density knob in a minute. I didn't cover that in my first video too much, but basically what this knob does is it fills the amp up with basically, hence the name, density. Gives it some density, or it opens it up if you turn it counterclockwise. And if you like a more open, raw sound, you can get that. I found the best of both worlds for me anyways is about 1 o'clock. And I like a fuller amp, but I also like to have that articulation, that openness too. So that is a great setting for that. And so there's no boost engaged right now. And so here are the settings of the EVH Stealth, and they will remain pretty much the same throughout the video because I've had this amp for years. I know what the best settings are on it for me anyways, and I think I have it in its best, most brutal settings, The only setting I will change on the Stealth throughout the video, just once maybe, is when I'm on the red channel. As you may or may not know, when you're on the red channel, the gain of the blue channel actually adds as a gain shaping tool on the red channel. So when you crank the gain on the blue channel all the way up while you're on the red channel, it makes it tighter and a little more aggressive. That's a little trick or Easter egg that Eddie had put in there, and I think it's a great little trick. It really is. I did a video on it a couple years ago, and a lot of people didn't even know about that. So, but anyways, I'll do that. And I'll also use the trick that's in the Bogner, which is its internal boost as well. But I will demo them or shoot them out with and without those settings on so you can hear everything. So let's get started now with some riffs on the Bogner. Let's just double check a few things on the Bogner. I just want to make sure that I have this set up as good as I can. So the shootout will start after I'm satisfied with these settings, which I kind of think I am, but let's just double check. Again, no boost engaged. Looking at my pedal board, there was one engaged. Used it in sound check, so I just turned it off. So also I will boost the amp with the best boost for each amp so I can shoot them out in a fair way, because believe it or not, amps like and dislike certain boost pedals. So I want the optimal settings for each amplifier so that they have a proper shootout, okay? So again, no boost. Let's dial in or double check channel 1 in Uber mode, and I'll explain the depth, or not the depth, but the density knob. All right, that actually sounds about as good as I can get it. But let's double check. I'll move the gain knob around and do the density knob, and the volume will change slightly when I touch the density knob, so don't assume just because it's louder it sounds better. It just opens it up and makes it louder when it's more open, and it compresses a little bit when I go to the clockwise direction. Okay, I backed the gain down just a little bit because it was starting to get just a tad mushy. Maybe I'll turn it all the way up when I boost it, because the boost pedal will clear some of that up, maybe. But I think that sounds good just like that. So let's mess with the density knob. Okay, you know what? I'm kind of liking it this direction a little bit. It's a little more aggressive like that. That's glad I'm doing this double check here. Again, I just got this amplifier, so I'm still getting to know it. So be patient with me. Some of you experts out there are going to be like, "Ooh, you don't know what you're doing." Shut up. All right, let's try this again. Wow, that actually sounds pretty freaking good. So let's go ahead and shoot these out really quick. Before I do that, off camera, I'm going to do a quick volume check, because when I turn the density knob, counterclockwise, the amp got louder, and I want to make sure I'm fair here. So off camera, I'm going to do a quick volume check, and then we will be right back with the shootout. Okay, so they are the same volume. I checked my meter, exactly the same. So, all right, so let's just do one of my stupid riffs that everyone's sick of. And this video is not about riffs, it's about what the amps sound like. So let's go ahead and do that. No boost, and let's see how they sound. So between the two there, I felt like the Bogner was a little more forward, better top end, and it was less congested on the top end. Now, everything I say here are my opinions and what I'm experiencing in the room. You make the best decision that works for you. I'm not going to really pick any winners here. I'm just going to tell you what I'm experiencing and what I'm hearing, and I want the winner to be you. You know, the only person or thing that should win in this video is the person watching the video. So anyways, I think, yeah, I think that's kind of sums it up. You know, I think the Stealth was a little on the muted side, a little muffled on the top end. And I have the presence on channel 2 all the way at 3 o'clock, okay? 3 o'clock, which is the sweet spot on the set, on the presence. And I have the highs at 2 o'clock. All right, got the gain cranked because it's the blue channel, okay? So that's about as good as it's going to sound. Let me do another familiar riff for us so we can check that out. Okay, I thought they both sounded pretty good with that. You know, I really do. They sounded great. Again, I'm noticing a little less congestion in the top end on the Bogner and a little more of that on the Stealth. Now, some people might like the congestion. I don't know, you know. And I'm not saying congestion as a derogatory term. It's just, it is what it is. So I got to call it something, you know. So anyways, let's go ahead and boost each amp with the optimal boost pedal for that amplifier. So for the Stealth, the best boost pedal is the Odd Box. And I think the Bogner sounds good with it as well, but I'm going to use the Mud Killer with the Bogner because I felt like that was a little less muddy with the Bogner. So let's go ahead and shoot those out with those pedals engaged now. Okay, so I thought both performed very well. Felt good to play with the boost pedals. I think it's pretty much even as far as the feel goes. Again, the sound, that's up to you to decide. A little more open with the Bogner. And I think some of that has to do with maybe the overall voicing of the Bogner, and you have this density knob. It really does make a difference. You can't do this on the Stealth. I mean, whatever the Stealth has, it has. It doesn't have this feature on it to allow you to adjust the density. But on the Bogner, you can do that. So that's actually a great feature. It really is. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of guys that would love that knob because there's so much variation you can get out of that. So I just think that with the Bogner, you're going to have more usable tones that you can use. You're not really stuck with anything. Everything's adjustable. You can adjust how much nuance you can have or not have in each of these channels and modes. It just really does offer a lot of tone shaping and gain structure shaping options for you. Okay, so I think that's a big deal. It really is. So let me do one more riff with both of these channels with their optimal boost pedals, and then we'll do a quick mix and then just see how they stand out in a mix against each other. Okay, so I think they both sounded great there. Again, noticeable differences, but let me do this. Let me hit that density knob, and if you want a little more fullness out of the Bogner, you can definitely get that. So let me demonstrate that now. Mud Killer is engaged, so let's kind of fill it up a little bit with that knob, and then we'll shoot them out again with a quick riff. Okay, that's why I like that sweet spot, because last time I played this, I boosted it, and I love the density knob right there. It filled it up a little bit more. That really does make a difference. Again, like I'm saying, you know, it really does have a lot of variation to it, and you can really fine-tune this amp to your taste or whatever pedals you're boosting it with or whatever. So let's do that again. Yeah, that was big difference. Now, I'll just play that same stupid riff with the same boost pedal, which is the odd box, just to make sure I got all my bases covered here. Because the odd box does add more fullness to the amplifier, where the Mud Killer kind of cuts some of that out. So let's just do that on an equal playing field here. Yeah, fuller on the Bogner as well. So I'll just keep that boost pedal on for the mix. I'm just going to do a partial mix here. So let's just hear how each amp sounds in a mix, and then we'll move on to what we're all waiting for, which is the heavy hitter channels. You know, channel 2 on the Bogner and the red channel on the EVH. Okay, so while I was playing each amplifier, I noticed that the Bogner was a little more forward in the mix, where the Stealth was a little more subdued, because it's got that muted kind of top end where it's a little congested up there, and it kind of pulls that top end back a little. So just what I noticed. You tell me what you think. I'm open to hearing your opinions. Again, I'm not picking winners. I'm just telling you what I'm noticing here. I think both amps sound amazing. I love the Stealth. It's one of my favorite amps. It's so freaking brutal and amazing. So I just want to make sure I emphasize that. But this thing, this Bogner, is really impressing the hell out of me. I did not expect this amp to be as good as it is. It's absolutely blowing me away. And honestly, like, before I did this video, I was worried because you know how you get an amp and you're like, oh, this thing's amazing, oh, blah, 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 and it's just the best thing ever. And then you compare it to something else side by side and you're like, oh my God, Well, by itself it was amazing, but now that I'm comparing it, maybe it's not. But that is not happening with the Bogner. I've been doing this for a long time, and I have a lot of amps. I've done a lot of shootouts, and I could tell when I got this thing. I was like, there's something special going on here. And there was a little bit of worry in the back of my mind where when I fired these up, like, oh, I hope I'm not wrong. But, you know, because there's always that. I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. But I will say this thing is shockingly good, and it's surprising me. I like it more every time I play it, every time I compare it to something. I like this amp even more. It's so impressive. I mean, this thing is absolutely blowing me away right now. So that being said, let's turn off the boost. And I honestly, again, here's the settings. I honestly think I have this dialed in very well. I think it sounds awesome, just like this. And this is channel 1 in Uber mode, which in my opinion is the most brutal mode in channel 2, or channel 1, I mean. So now let's go over to channel 2 in Ultra mode. And I have the Hair Plus on, which is what I like. I've seen some people comment and say, Hair Plus is not good, or they prefer it this way. We all like different stuff, but I'm just telling you, if you want this amp to sound its most brutal and aggressive, you want the Hair Plus. They put it there for a reason. It's for guys like me and probably a lot of you guys who want ultimate brutal shit, you know. So here are the settings here. I have it on focus. Bright is a little too much for me, depending on your pickups and your taste, maybe your speakers or whatever. It's great, but I don't really need all that. I think focus is like the perfect in-between, you know, for between Doom and Bright. Doom is also very good. It's really full and punchy and fat, and still tight, but I kind of like the focus, you know. And then, of course, this Metamorph knob will adjust tight or fat depending on which switch or which setting you have it on and which direction you turn it. I find that this is kind of like the best setting, but let's go ahead and switch over to the red channel on the Stealth, and I'm going to turn the gain on the blue channel down to like noon, because that does affect the red channel. And don't worry, I'll crank the gain on the Stealth on the blue channel while I'm on the red channel to show you that Easter egg in a minute, to shoot it out with the internal boost of the Bogner. But for right now, let's just shoot the amps out in their normal settings without using the Easter egg in the Stealth, and no boost internal or external on the Bogner. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so voicing wise, the Bogner is again more forward. Now I watched my meter; they're exactly the same on my meter, my volume meter on the screen here. So it sounds like the Bogner's louder. It's not. It's just more forward, and it doesn't have that muted, muffled top end with all that congestion up there like the EVH does. Again, EVH still sounds amazing, but when you put things side by side, you notice things, and that's what I noticed. So, and I found that the Bogner was a little fuller too. You know, because of the different tone shaping and gain structure shaping options you have here, such as the tight, fat, and the Metamorph, the focus, Doom, and Bright settings, and also the depth, or the density, which you don't get on the EVH. So with the EVH, just checking my camera, I bumped it. So with the EVH, you get what you get, which is amazing, but there's no other like tone or gain shaping options on there like the Bogner has, except for the Easter egg, which is when you crank the blue channel gain while you're in the red channel, which I'll demonstrate in a minute. But even with that, you're still not going to shape the voicing of the amplifier. So with the Bogner, the options are pretty much limitless. If you can't find a good tone, or a good gain structure on this amplifier, you're a freaking idiot. You really are. You're a moron. And I'll make a bold statement like that. I really will. You deserve to have your house egged every Friday if you can't make this thing sound good. Because there's no excuse. It'll do anything you want it to do with all the different switches, knobs, and everything else. So, by the way, I'm not being paid for this. No one gave me this amp. I'm actually buying this. I like it so much that I'm not bringing it back to the store. I'm bringing cash to the store instead of the amplifier because I'm keeping this son of a bitch. I love this thing. And it's not the new car smell. It's not the new amp, you know, stuff going on here. I think this thing's amazing. Okay, so, all right, so now let's get a little crazy here. You know what? Before we get crazy, let me do one more riff. Let's do that, you know, the Metallica riff on it, just as things are, and then we'll move on and do some other stuff. All right, so I feel more comfortable playing the Bogner. It's not as dry. It's got a nice feel to it. There's a little bit of that support or response of the Bogner that I'm not getting out of the Stealth. The Stealth is a little more dry, and it's a little more hollow in these settings. Again, I have the Stealth dialed in as good as you can do it. Okay, and with those settings, it's a decent wall of sound, but there's kind of holes in the frequencies here and there in that wall of sound. Where with the Bogner, it's a wall of sound, and all of the frequencies that are supposed to be there are there. There's no holes. I mean, it's just a big, thick, fat wall of sound, and they're all proper frequencies. So however they chose the frequencies in this amplifier, I'm telling you, it must have been a very meticulous, you know, thing going on there with that, because they're all proper. You know, I'm not getting any weird clang or anything like that. Where I am getting it, I'm getting that clang, and you guys know what I'm talking about. If you own a Stealth and you play the red channel, there's an inherent clang on the red channel that you cannot dial out. It's just there, especially on the single notes, and when you rake the pick across the strings, you hear that kind of, I don't know, I call it a clang. It's just there. It's like a metallic sound that it's just there, where with the Bogner, you're not getting that. Now, I will say you can get it on the Bogner when you switch it over to the bright mode. It'll have a little bit of that, but at least you can dial it out on the Bogner by just going to Doom or Focus. Is that what it is? Yeah, Focus or Doom. But on Bright, you can get a little bit of that. I'll demonstrate that for you now. So let me just play a quick riff on both of them and show you that. I'm trying to be as fair and as in-depth as I can here so that you guys have a definitive shootout between these two amps, because they deserve it and so do you. You hear that? There's that clang on the top end. All right, so let me switch, and you won't hear it on the Bogner. See what I'm saying? It's just not there. It's more pleasant. And even if it's, in your opinion, a little too sharp, which I don't think it is, but you can always pull some of that back. I mean, you still have options here. You can go to Doom. You can go to, you can take the treble down a little bit. You can also take the presence down a little bit. You can adjust the depth or the density and add a little more fullness, and that will kind of cover some of that up. I mean, but I don't really see the need for it in these settings. I really don't. I think it sounds near perfect to me. I mean, it just sounds awesome. So now let's shoot them out with their own little, I call them Easter eggs or tricks or whatever you want to call it. So on the Bogner, I will push the built-in boost, which is absolutely amazing. It's not a gimmick. It's a for real awesome boost. And then on the Stealth, I'm going to crank the gain on the blue channel all the way up while I'm on the red channel. And that'll tighten that channel up and make the gain a little more aggressive and stuff, which adds to that clang a little bit, but it is what it is. And the gain on the red channel is at 1 o'clock. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so I don't know about you, what you're hearing out there, but what I'm hearing and feeling in the room is the Bogner definitely had a better feel, a better response, fuller sound, and I don't need a boost pedal with this amplifier at freaking all. The built-in one works perfect. I could easily, if I owned this amp and this amp alone, I could easily sell all my boost pedals and I would be perfectly fine. And then the Easter egg and the, the EVH definitely helped it out. It made it more responsive, but there's still a little bit of a hollow sound in that amplifier compared to the Bogner. Again, the Bogner is just a wall of sound, a brick wall of sound. Every brick in that wall belongs there. There's nothing annoying at all. It's just a very well crafted and thought out wall of sound that they created with this amp. No annoying frequencies at all. But with the EVH, as good as it is, there's still a little bit of that clang, and there's just some characteristics in there that you could probably dial out with a what do you call it, EQ pedal in the loop, but you don't need to do that with the Bogner. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to turn the gain back down to maybe 1 o'clock on the blue channel while we're in the red channel, and I'm going to boost the red channel with the odd box, which I think makes it sound and feel really good, fills in some of those holes per se in the wall of sound. The odd box is a great boost pedal for tighter amps because it just fills it up. It also boosts it, But I'm not going to use the odd box on the Bogner because I don't need it. I'll use the built-in boost on the Bogner. Now let's see how they compare. Wow, I have to say, again, it's more forward. I know it might sound louder to you, like I have it louder, but I don't. It's just more forward because of the top end. And even with the boost engaged on the EVH, I still preferred the Bogner myself. You might disagree with me, but I preferred the Bogner. I thought that it just had a better overall voicing to it, and I think it'll stand out in a mix better, and for all the right reasons, and there's still that great wall of sound I'm getting out of it. It sounds a little more organic. I know that's a weird word to use, but it just does. It sounds more organic to me than the EVH. Now I will say though, as soon as I engaged the boost and dialed in the EVH accordingly, I thought it sounded way better, felt way better to play than with the other settings that I used in the previous little section here. So I would definitely use the boost with the EVH and then turn the blue channel gain down, but I thought it sounded way better, than it did previously. But that being said, I think the Bogner still to me, sounds and feels better. And I love the fact that I still have all these different tone shaping options on the Bogner. So while I have this boost on, let's play around with the Bogner a little bit and make sure I got everything exactly how I want it, because I'm still getting to know this amp. And then we'll do a mix with these two and see how they sound. And I want to show you some of these features anyway, so let's go ahead and just do that. Man, that Doom is awesome. I mean, if you want a little more punch and low end, it's not super subtle. It's definitely noticeable, but it's the right frequencies it's pushing. They're perfect. And it's not flubby. It's just punchy. It's got a really nice thump to it. So that actually sounds amazing. Wow, I don't know, man. I'm kind of liking the Doom a little bit now too, so that's freaking badass. Let's mess around with the density. I like that setting right there. I mean, it's just thick and nasty, but I will say, having it around 11 o'clock, I see why a lot of people would like that too. And I bet you, depending on the mood I'm in, I would too. It's got that really nice open kind of raw sound, and it's just a little, might be a little more articulate as well. So it just depends on what you're going for. But I'm all about the wall and the thickness, but man, there's days I'd probably like to open it up a little bit more too and let it breathe. So some of you watching the video are probably like, why didn't you leave it over there? But I mean, hey, you know, I'm just doing the best I can here, and we all have different tastes, and maybe as I get to know this amplifier more, I'll find some settings that'll work differently for me or better for me. But I think these settings right here are really good. I mean, and one thing I noticed too, like with the Doom on, it's definitely really thick and punchy. And then when I put it back to fat, I'm getting a little more articulation, and that's why I turned the density knob up just a little bit more, because it filled it up a little bit and kind of was like a happy medium. And I think if you have the Doom on, you can also, I think I bumped that, you can also adjust the depth back a little bit to kind of counterbalance that and you know, get a sweet spot. So it's like I was saying, there's so many variations, and they're good variations. There's so many good ways you can dial in this amp and get anything you want. So with that being said, let's just do a quick mix between these two, and then we will wrap up. Okay, I thought both of them sounded great in the mix. By the way, I had the internal boost on the Bogner and the odd box on the EVH Stealth Red channel. So I thought they sounded good. I thought they felt good, but again, the Bogner, to me, if I was in a store picking between these two, it would be a pretty easy decision for me to pick the Bogner. Okay, I know I said earlier I'm not going to pick winners or whatever. I'm just giving you my opinions. If you want to disagree with me, go ahead. That's fine. We all like different stuff. But I will say the Bogner was more forward. It was a thicker wall of sound without the congestion on the top end. The feel was better. The tone shaping and gain shaping options on it just completely work for me. And as your tastes change, the amp can change with those tastes for you. You can grow into this amp instead of out of it, which is great. Also, what was the other thing I noticed? Oh, the chugs, the palm mutes. That's why I use this mix a lot, because there's chords, there's single notes, and there's chugs, and there's starts and stops and all that. And it's such a great mix to test things with, because the chugs in between some of the notes, oh my God, there's just so much authority and distinction and grit and attack on the chugs on the Bogner. And because it had that better top end, they just stood out more. It was just so, like, every time you did them, you felt like you were just beating the shit out of your strings, and it was amazing. But you didn't have to beat the shit out of your strings and get them. It just does it, you know. So I think all in all, both fantastic amplifiers, really, really good. But this is a perfect example of a boutique amplifier that costs more than mainstream type amplifiers like the EVH Stealth or maybe others, but it justifies its price with how it sounds and all the other things that I described. You know, all of the different variations of sound you can get out of this amp, and the fact that you can adjust the gain structure and make it work for you any way you want it to. The built-in boost is not a gimmick, it actually works. And I just know that this is the perfect example of what a boutique amp can do because of all of the thought that goes into it and the components, the better components that are in there. I think that that has a lot to do with it as well. I mean, again, I'm not knocking the EVH Stealth. It's more of a mainstream amp. They're built in Mexico and stuff like that. These are built in California, and there's just a lot that went into this amp. And I can really tell that it was just so carefully crafted and meticulously gone over with every detail. So if you have the means and you don't mind parting with some extra money to get something, you're not just buying a legendary brand. You're not just buying an amp that's expensive that you can brag to your friends about. You're buying an amp that's worth every freaking penny that you paid for it, because it does all the stuff that it's supposed to do in the best ways possible. So in my opinion, I always thought the EVH Stealth was definitely the most brutal amp out there. But in my opinion, for what I do and my experience, I think it just got dethroned by the Bogner Uber Ultra. And that's a big statement coming from me, because that EVH Stealth still, even after this, I love it. I think it's amazing. But if I had to go for the most brutal, versatile amp out there, as far as, you know, that kind of stuff goes, for my taste, I think the Uber Ultra takes the cake. Again, if I was in a store picking between these two, I would walk out with the Uber Ultra, knowing full well that it costs more. I would be okay with that. I wouldn't even have to justify it all the way home from the store going, yeah, but, you know, should I? No, I would go home with full confidence that I made the right choice. So what do you guys think? Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I'm right? Do you like the settings that I used? And hopefully you liked how I did this video. I'm trying to do less editing and stuff nowadays because I'm so freaking overwhelmed with work. But this video needed to happen. A lot of people asked me for it. So hopefully you guys got something out of it. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I also want to thank everyone who's been purchasing all of the preset and profile packs for all the digital platforms on my website, linked below. Feel free to go to my website and get some awesome capture and preset packs for all the digital platforms for yourself. By the way, this Bogner Uber Ultra will be available soon on the Quad Cortex and the ToneX. I'll be working on that. I'm about halfway done with the captures on the Bogner for the Quad Cortex right now. Dude, you want to get those. I'm telling you, they are coming out amazing, and they're probably going to be some of the best captures you've ever played. They are sounding awesome. I sent them out to some friends, and they immediately got back with me and said, these are the best ones you've ever done. So I can't wait to get this pack released. So stay tuned to the channel for that. I'll be announcing it on the channel. So anyways, to all my Patreon supporters and subscribers, thank you guys very much. And thanks to everyone who's been purchasing all the preset and profile packs. Appreciate you guys. And if you're new to the channel and you like what I do here, giving you unprocessed, unbiased reviews and shootouts, feel free to subscribe and click the bell so that you're notified every time I either go live or come out with another episode. I got a lot more stuff coming up for you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.